bottom line is this, is that culture-led Christianity is led by culture. When there's a conflict or even a discrepancy between what Jesus says and what culture finds acceptable, that then you modify your version of Christianity to make it acceptable to culture. So in the end, it's culture that's leading your version of Christianity and even your concept of God. So I find that many people today will say, it says in the Bible that God says this and that. Let's say Jesus talked quite a bit about hell, for example. Now, we need to know that there's a lot of controversy about hell. What is it actually like? Do we stay conscious forever or do you not? Whatever. That's a different question, but there's no question. There's no doubt that Jesus did talk about it. Now, that's culturally not that, it doesn't really fly very well in our culture today, at least not in Western culture. So they would say, my God would never create a hell. And so what they have done is they've renovated God, or they've adjusted or tweaked God to suit the culture. My God would be this and that. And my God would, let's say, sexuality. There's a lot of controversy. We live in a very highly sexualized culture today. And there's huge pressure to make Christianity and God fit into what society finds acceptable when it comes to sexuality. And there's a whole ton of things there. And they would say, well, my God would never say that's wrong over here or this should not be done. My God loves everybody, and he would embrace this full range of whatever the culture finds acceptable when it comes to sexuality. So there again, what a person has to do is revise what God says about these things and revise their notion of God. And all of that, when culture trumps what the Bible appears to say about God and Jesus Christ and Christianity, when culture trumps that, you are now entering a kind of Christianity, which I would call a false kind of Christianity. It's a custom-tailored Christianity that's culture-led. There's always room for discussion, and there's controversy sometimes because it'll say, well, what about this passage and that over here? That's fine. We, as Christians who are followers of Christ, genuine, true Christians, they don't agree on 100% of everything because they understand certain passages differently, or maybe they're not aware of that passage over there, but that's different. An honest discussion about, well, what does this really mean? But when you start to reinterpret the scriptures in ways that, wow, you're really going a little past what normally anybody would do when they're reading any other book, then you got to start questioning, what's my motive here? Is it because this is actually not very clear? Or is it because culture is applying pressure to me to change what it says here?